Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Canadian eRacing Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Austin Knight. I am joined by Sam Fitzpatrick and Dennis Branch, who is up there in the booth. We are here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for round 2 of the Canadian eRacing Challenge presented by Apex V2R. Sam, how are you feeling about today's race?
Absolutely superb. Going to be awesome to watch these guys hit this Montreal circuit. One of the best circuits in the world. I think everyone would agree on that front. As a driver's circuit, this place is absolutely mega. Navigating our way through the really narrow walls around this circuit is tricky to keep out of the barriers for this 40-minute race that we're going to have coming up. And also, it's pretty good in qualifying as well. To nail a lap round here is a lot easier said than done.
Definitely is going to be a massive port. This track is the most different track out of the 3 rounds we have in this championship. Round 1, we're at Watkins Glen. Next round is Mid Ohio, and then the final is at Mosport. This track is the widest track out of all of them, and it's the most straightaways on the track as well, and the most overtaking opportunities. So expect a big mix-up in the standings here today. Race number 1 went to Mr. Corrance. Almost said it again. And if you look at the timing screen, he is actually not even, he is sitting in 4th place right now. So he is looking to have a battle up ahead with cars in front of him, but he's going to be assisted by the draft here today. It's going to be very interesting on how these guys deal with the draft during the race and in qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive element to today's event. Overtaking will be interesting how possible it is. Sometimes around this circuit, it can be quite tricky, but you're absolutely right earlier on how you said about the straightaway. So, yeah, the draft could be quite pivotal. Corinth not improving on that lap, maybe just an outlap on that occasion. We'll try to improve right now. Currently got Scott Hargrove. He has put himself to the top of the standings. We've had a few different provisional pole sitters in this session so far. I think there's still time for these drivers to improve. I think once we get to the race, it's going to be 6 or 7 drivers who have got a good chance. Just getting through these first few corners is corners. Remember, if you even skim the wall, your lap time will be invalidated. So you've got to make sure that you keep it well within the white lines. And Corinth with a bit of clear air in front of him. This is looking like a pretty good first half of the lap. A couple of personal best sectors already.
Definitely, he's been improving a lot. Another driver that's improving as well is Justin Dibenedetto. He just went through Sector 3 with a purple lap time, but I believe that was invalidated since it is miles ahead of everyone else, and that tricky last sector with the Wall of Champions chicane, it's so crucial to get that right, and I expect going too wide into that corner is going to cause some craziness, especially at the start. Since it's a rolling start, I expect some games to be played going into there.
Yeah, I think so. And the first half of this lap so tricky on that opening lap. You need to get into single file, particularly the that first chicane, turns 3 and 4 as Corinth approaches the line. Wasn't actually a spectacular second sector. So personal best sector 1. And the third sector was a bit underwhelming as well because the line were a 35.61. So I think that may have even been an improvement, but certainly not enough to put him up any places. So he's consistent out there as Corinth, but he's not fast enough at the moment. Wait to see if he's got a little bit more up his sleeve when it comes to the race. Andrew Waring currently out on circuit as well. His first sector on this lap, 26.99, which is good. Certainly is something that could put him on pole position, but it's not the fastest. It's not even his fastest as well. As we might see what his second sector time. Fortunately, it's only 3 sectors around this circuit. iRacing is really weird how they have 4 or 5 sectors around these circuits normally, but 3 is very welcome. Thank you very much, iRacing, for that, because it helps us out quite a bit. Second sector for Waring, a bit underwhelming, but great first sector just now for Scott Hargrove. He's improving out in pole position.
Yeah, personal best for Sector 1 for Scott Hargrove, as we look at one of 2 Ferraris in the field, and this Ferrari is sitting up on top, and these Ferraris received a boost in their top speed in a early patch on, and they've been dominating on the straights just like the McLaren used to be, and Scott's 2/10 clear of the cars behind him, and he's looking for an easy race right now. And I think he's going to try to improve on his time once more. So he's coming down into the Wall of Champions. 135.25. I heard a car smack hard into a wall. We saw the carnage right there. But Scott Hargrove hopped up onto the curb, and he actually got an off track right there. and he's gonna teleport into the pits and end his qualifying session. We're looking at Gavin Sanders Sand right now, sitting in 5th place. Gavin, 17 years old, from Ontario. He's driving for SPI and drives in the Nissan Micro Cup.
Yeah, so a little bit different to what he's used to getting into these GT3 cars. Fantastic, that real world experience will help him out significantly. It's fantastic to have so many real life drivers from multiple disciplines taking starting up their sim racing careers as well. As Gavin Sanders, what can he do? Currently in 5th place, and that lap time right there, a 35.84, so a couple of tenths slower than his best time. So we have not seen too much movement at the moment. I don't know if we could maybe get the weather up on screen, just see maybe if the track's warming up a little bit. Here we are, so 92 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
Dude,
that's nice.
we're using Imperial. I will just say this is the Canadian Esports Series. I can say that America and is it? I think it's Liberia and the Philippines. I believe are the three countries in the world who use Imperial measurements.
Round one
Um,
was in USA, so that's what it's from.
okay, okay, and well, it's Canada now, but I'll excuse you guys. 92 degrees Fahrenheit. That is about 40 degree, just over 30 degrees Celsius, be about 35 degrees Celsius. So it's quite warm for these drivers. It might well be rising for them. Hence why the times are getting a little bit slower.
Yeah, there was a very heart and mouth moment for Gavin right there. He's coming across the chicane, and Audi in front of him smacked into the wall, came across the track, and Gavin had so little move, but he navigated himself all the way through there, and he is continuing on. But this lap time, I'm not sure it will pass up to the exceptional level as he skipped across the curves and coming across the line. Gavin Sanders, 1:36.004, no improvement.
Yeah, not even close, was it? Just a little bit
We just,
slow, I think, in each of the sectors.
he had traffic in front of him.
Yeah, that certainly didn't help. As the check flag is out, so this will be the last lap time for these drivers. They can complete the lap that they start. So let's see if there's going to be any last gasp. There's a big incident just ahead there of Santos. I wonder if there'll be a little bit of a penalty for that if there was a driver to blame. But Santos keeping it nice and clean. But once again, his first sector slow. It's about half a second slower for Santos than the pole sitter just through the first sector. So, I mean, it would be absolutely incredible if he could improve on his time from here. We've also got Olivier Bedard out there as well, Craig Anderson, Sam Fellis, and Craig Daly all trying to improve.
Top 10 all within a second of each other. And this field is extremely close with a good mix of cars, Ferraris, Audis, Mercedes. We got a BMW in here as well. And these are the cars that are running for us right now, as we see Bedard skip over the inside curb. Now, you don't want to attack that too hard, or else as you just see the BMW of Sam Fellows go hard into the wall.
Yeah, that's how you don't do that corner. You got to be, got to absolutely nail those two curves. You can take quite a lot of it and almost like straight line it quite a bit and get the bottom of the car kind of straight over the curb. But then if you get it slightly a couple of feet either way, it can really unsettle the machine. So yeah, really tricky part of the circuit. I expect plenty of slowdowns as well. You'll see a slow lane form around this circuit of just picking up slowdowns. It is so tricky. Up there with Le Mans, I think, is one of the most tricky slow down circuits. So if they cut that chicane, they'll just have to slow to the pit wall and let lots of drivers by, which would be painfully, yeah, an absolutely painful occasion if that happened on the opening lap.
Yeah, speaking of opening laps, we've seen massive parking lots happen here in real life in those in that opening sector. Just one thing could go wrong as they're setting up for the first hard braking zone after turns 1 and 2. It can turn into a massive parking lot. But here is your starting grid on the shortest rolling start. On iRacing. Scott Hargrove takes pole, followed by Jean-Christophe Tran, Andrew Waring, Max Corrance, Gavin Sanders, Adam Insman, Oliver Bedard, Zachary Vanier, Nathan Block, Erwin James, Curtis Fox, followed by Martin Chris. Sam?
Yeah, Justin Dibenedetto in 13th place, Zachary Shearer in 14th. Then it's Dal Timmers, Jacob Exton, Craig Anderson, Travis Hill, Trevor Hill. Those two very close to one another. Yannick Lupien in 20th. Then it's Bill Swires, Kevin King, Ross Sotino, and Dominic Dumays.
They're
Craig.
followed by Craig Daly, Sam Fellows, Paul Moreland, Pierre Clavet, Greg Paquin, and Greg Van Dalen, followed by the two Alex Federico and Jen Gray, who didn't set a qualifying time. And Federico, the only McLaren, I see you can already see him spinning some mad flames.
That's yeah, gonna be pretty good. I hopefully we got the cameras for all these different GT3 cars for the stream. There's a very nice camera for the McLaren. I think it's the rear left camera where basically it feels like you're being burnt alive. To be honest, by the flames
Oh,
of the McLaren. It's
barbecue cam.
very
I
nice.
love barbecue cam.
Barbecue cam. There you go. Absolutely lovely.
As the Porsche States car begins this formation lap, it's all in the hands of Scott Hargrove, who's going around the outside, then the inside of the wall of champions chicane. Now, he can do this either way. He can go immediately when he hits the chicane, or can play some games, back everyone up, which we've seen cause some massive chaos in multiple GT races here on Apex Racing TV, either being the ARL or other GT3 series. But the Porsche States car goes straight on. Scott Hargrove puts him into the chicane, and hello, hit the brakes, pump the brakes. But the Reds are rising because we're going racing here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for round 2 of the Canadian eRacing Challenge. And already moves being made. Waring got an amazing jump, as well as Gavin Sanders, as they both jumped Jean-Christophe Tran and Matt Corrance. And Mike's already fallen down even more. Omar Bedard's got ahead of him.
Yeah, so poor start for the championship leader. Everyone did pretty well there through the chicane not to go into one another. I was a bit surprised how long the race leader waited as Andrew Waring takes the lead. That was out of nowhere on Hargrove. Overtaking can be tricky around here, but that was easy for him. But back comes the Ferrari driver. He's got part of his car alongside going into the chicane. Are you going to see a second change of position on this opening lap? And yes, we do, but this is just backing everyone up. Gavin Sanders now right on the tail, Tran and Vidal and Corrance all going to be right on the tail as we head into the hairpin. It's going to be a case of attack or be attacked, but the top three stay in line at the moment. Very deep on the brakes was Tran just behind.
Oh, that was so beautiful. First lap, attacking from Waring, and then the repeat move by Scott Hargrove. Very beautiful run into both braking zones as it's Hargrove, Waring, Sanders, Tran, Bedard, your top 5 nearing the end of lap 1 as we head into the final chicane. Everyone's backing up, but what a start, I must say, by Greg Van Dalen. He's jumped up 4 spots, the biggest mover at the end of 1 lap. So you see some drivers in the back going out 3 wide.
Yeah, I wonder if some drivers got a slowdown, but to be fair, most of them seem to do a pretty good job. not cutting that chicane, which is so easy to do. Of course, Curtis Fox dropping a couple of places, but now coming back past Martin Chris, potentially is the only driver, well, one of only a couple of drivers who are back where they started this race. Oh, there's an instant behind and a spinner,
That's
and that is
Timmers.
Daryl Timmers. And he must have been hit, but we've still got Soberside as well a little bit further up. Fox does finally get past then Crisp. However, Crisp is now going to lose out to Exton as well, around the outside for the first part, inside for the second part, and now it's Hill off the circuit as well.
Yeah, Exton and Crisp going side by side as there's chaos behind him. Kevin King is around.
And with damage surely after hitting the wall, and we got another one as well, so it's all happening in the second lap. Martin Crisp, who was up in 12th place, drops to 15th, but will move up a place as the Audi puts the foot down. That was Anderson, who gains a place, although he was very fortunate not to spin the car around. Here he goes into the hairpin. That move was absolutely gaping, and also moves behind the car number 24 of Shearer, making up a place. So these guys, it's a 5-minute race. You wouldn't guess it. You'd expect it to be just a couple of laps long because they're ever so aggressive.
That's what separates Circuit Gilles Villeneuve than any other track in this series. It's so great for overtaking. No matter what lap, you always just want to go for it. As we see Yannick Lupin just be a little bit aggressive, but watch that exit as that Audi powers it out as he jumps into 15th.
Very slow for the Mercedes as well, out there dropping a few places. But meanwhile, out in front, it's still Hargrove leading Warren, who took the lead at this part of the circuit. Maybe this is where he's strong. We expect the rider to probably struggle through this first half of the lap more than in the second half of the lap. But Warren very close to him. Sanders maybe a little bit losing touch, but just a little bit of battling from the two guys ahead, and he'll be right back onto the tail. Tran and Better, Corrins and Block, and Dibenedetto all going to be involved in this fight for the win. Warring with a good chance. He's going to go to the outside now into the hairpin. We'll just try to get the cutback, but he's got to be very careful of what the driver in P3 is doing.
Oh,
as they make contact,
they
and they come out. The two leaders hit the wall, and they take out as well a P4, and that was Hargrove and Tran both dropping down. Corrins gets through it cleanly. What an avoidable incident though early on in the race, and that's denied us a great result for those two drivers.
Let's take another look at what happened. Hargrove was down onto the inside, and I believe they just hooked wheels right there. If you take a look up, and Hargrove got collected, Bedard got into the back of Tron, and he ate that Audi. He's got massive hood damage as well. As we go back live, Andrew Waring sitting in second place. He's got hood damage. Behind him is Matt Corrins. This could be a blessing for our championship leader, as Gavin Sanders. It's definitely a blessing for him because all his competition is fighting amongst each other behind him, and the lead car of that train is damaged. So he's got a comfortable 2-second gap behind him, and he's looking to make that increase right now.
How Corrins managed to get through that, I think it was a couple of drivers in front of him got taken out in that. One driver behind him then got taken out, but he was the one who got through. And into the podium place is just what the championship leader needed. Now he needs to get past Waring straight away. I imagine he's going to be faster than Waring now that the Mercedes driver's got some damage. So get past ASAP, and you can see all the way back to P6 now. They are all bunched up, but Corrins at the moment not got the overspeed to make the move. The gap up to 2.3 seconds as they avoid into the slipstream. I think the final corner is going to be a very good opportunity. He's got a lot of overspeed. Gets his car to the inside. This should be signed and delivered. There he goes, and he's up into second place. Good move there from Corrins, and he can go chase after the leader.
Waring was not having any of it. He wasn't playing any games. He was going for that move, damage or not, as now he's under pressure from Block. And here comes Block sending it in on Waring. But Waring, was just ahead of the dart. Turns around Block. And Block sitting in the middle of the track. Hopefully he stays right there as everyone takes evasive action. And Block moves to the other side and hopefully gets going again. Back up to the battle for 5th place between Badar and Isman. As you can see, the front nose of Bedard's car is pulling out the old unicorn. As you can see, Imsman's car, the back right of it, has a bit of damage, but Bedard, superior top speed, and that Mercedes.
Yeah, that was pretty simple for him, but that instant back at turn 2, just a driver, I think, on the inside, understaying to the driver on the outside, and both spinning round. So it's remarkable how many places some of these drivers have gained. Number 96 in 4th place, Dibenedetto up 9 places now from 13th on the grid. Hasn't really made a whole lot of moves, maybe a couple of moves on lap 1, but apart from that, just been relying on the incidents from others. So far, I've also got Dumas and Daly both up 10 places down in 14th and 15th places. Going to be up another place right now is Owen James, although that is a fantastic defensive move there from Vanya, warring into the pits. Warring
Yes.
from what position was that? Was that 3rd place, I think?
Second. He was in 2nd. He's either in 2nd or 3rd, and around goes Vanier! Just got a little bit too much curb. Car was upset going in there, and it just kept wanting to turn left as the weight transfer was not good on those springs, and he drops from 6th place all the way down into 9th. The lone Ferrari up front and on the lead lap. We look at the battle for 6 between Fox and James.
That curb down at turn 1 really happens quite a bit. That's that instant you really need to set up the car so that it can cope with that, but gotta go with some quite extreme settings on the rebound dampers to be able to cope with the really tall curbs that you have around this circuit, and just bouncing too much seemingly on that occasion was the car really unsettled it. So yeah, James versus Fox in the battle for 7th place. These guys in the 38s on the last lap compared to the race leaders in the 36s. They've also got Martin Crisp. I believe we see, might always a pack winners, unfortunately, to go back to the pits. Martin Crisp, we do have a Martin Crisp in the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Championship, which will actually be on in just a few hours' time, which I'll be commentating on. That'll be on the iRacing Esports Network and on Apex Racing TV. Not sure if that is the same Martin Crisp, because I swear the Martin Crisp we have in that is Australian. But anyway, maybe it's just a very common name, I don't know.
Well, this Martin Crisp is a very certainly one that you should know, because he is the oldest competitor in the field. The 55-year-old from Toronto, Ontario, driving for Crispy Esports. He races in the CTCC and has the ASN FIA license, and he's a 3-race winner of the season in 2014 and 2015, and he just started iRacing about a year ago.
Nice one. Well, he's certainly using that experience right now to move up into 8th place. Yeah, 4 places because of a bit of an untoward start. Remember, I think we saw him drop down to about 15th place at one point, but he's been much stronger ever since then. I wouldn't rule him out of maybe even a podium with the craziness that we've already seen. We're only 11 minutes into this race. Can't wait for what the next half an hour is going to serve up for us. Here is Dumas, who's up 10 places, joint highest places gained. Very wide for the car ahead, and they're all very tight. They get pretty rubbish exits, do the 3 of them, and none of them can really get the advantage. Seems like that's a rocket.
They're all Audis.
Yeah, all Audi. It's quite a rare sight.
Yeah, if there was an Audi Cup, this is what it will look like. Look down the inside. That's block on Dumas. Dumas looking down to the inside of Lupien. No changes are being made, and Dumas sporting a, I believe that's a Formula E livery.
Oh, oh, like the
Jaguar.
Jaguar. Yeah, I see that.
And
It's
speaking of Jaguar and Formula E, there is actually a Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy driver in this field. It is not Dominic Device, which would have been amazing.
You see, when the really sad thing is when you say Formula E, I straight away think of Marbula E. Don't know if you've heard of Marbula E.
Oh, I know Marbula E
It
and
is.
Jesse's marble runs.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. If you
It's
think this
awesome.
is good, check out that. Unbelievable scenes. You will not see it. I mean, Jackie were getting a superb win as well last time out at Seoul. Looking forward to round 3 of the championship. But no, that is one of the best things on the planet right now.
Yeah, and Marbula 1 just wrapped up, so I'm glad that
Yeah.
they get back for that right now. But enough talk about marble racing. Let's go back to sim racing. Here for the Canadian eRacing Challenge.
Seemingly pulling away from these two then is Dumas. Block, he was pretty much high, wasn't he, earlier on? In 13th place now is Block. But apparently coming into the pits already has been Andrew Waring. So it's a short pit lane here. You cut the last corner and you also cut the first corner. And so I think in terms of actual loss, just running down the pit lane, I think you only lose about maybe 12 seconds in these cars, maybe even less than that, probably only about 10 seconds. So it's really not that much of a penalty if you do have to come into the pits for an extra time. And Warren just came into the pits, got stationary, picked up a fast repair, and then got back out on his way. So probably only lost about 15 seconds in all that.
Yeah, the Jaguar I-Pace driver, he is not on the grid, but we're talking about Stefan Rydzinski, the British Columbian driver, 27-year-old. What a resume on this guy. Jaguar I-Pace, E-Trophy, Porsche Cup, Canada, CHA, Superface, Korea, Nissan Micro Cup, IMSA, LMP3, Road to Indy, and NASCAR Canadian driver.
Yeah,
We got
quite a
some
resume.
massive drivers here. We ride on board with Nathan Block behind Dumas in the battle for 12. He's looking down the inside. He's got the draft. He's got the speed. Side by side they go into the wall of champions chicane, and he is got it by a mile. And it looks like Lupien's going to try to get Dumas on the exit. Certainly got the draft, though, from Block. He's sending it onto the brakes a little bit too deep right there, and he's cut him off. Door has been shut and closed on Dumas as Lupien steals it into 13th, but Lupien's not having enough of that, as a very nice send up there. I think that might have been a driver saying, "I'm sorry," and there's the flash of lights to confirm my suspicions that he meant that. As right behind him, it looks like Swears and Cher going side by side for 15th.
Yes, I moved there for Swears. No, he stayed in 15th place, so he's just defending at the moment from these couple of drivers behind.
Oh, that's Tron. That was Tron who did that. Lapcar. But look at Swears and Cher. They both make contact. They go off track, and Timbers jumps up into 15th.
And can't get through either. Can Daly just
Looks like-
put high, gets past one of them. I think we'll get past the other one now, but the track has pretty much blocked for him. Way too deep on the brakes there for Swears. And Daly will nip back down the inside corner, make sure he leaves his rival room. Almost a quarter panel right there, and actually it's the Audi on the outside who should have the bet to run as they drive alongside the old rowing lake for the 88 Olympics, I believe. And down into the hairpin. I don't think it was 88, was it? That was Seoul, I believe.
Yeah, I
But,
believe Seoul was 88, but that is a Olympic rowing wake and also the site of one of my favorite Formula One traditions, which I wish still keeps carrying on, is the F1 raft race, which I am
yeah,
very thankful to say the site of McLaren's last Formula One win.
it's the only thing they've won for the past 8 years. So gotta give them something.
As Cher and Sires going side by side, Mercedes versus Audi power, and around the
Whoa.
outside, Shears makes a wonderful move. It looked like Sawyer's had the move with that Audi power coming out of turns 1 and 2, but that Mercedes and its mid-speed grip is insane. As Vanier and Waring, these two going at it for 9th place. And Waring holding out to the inside, this time not getting hooked over by the driver. He was going up onto the inside, but Vanier, he is locked in with that Ferrari. You can barely see it behind that Mercedes. It's so small. And he shoots down to the inside. Side by side they go into the braking zone, and he's letting Waring by.
Oh, Warren, of course, already with a pit stop. I imagine Warren's going to be the faster driver. On that last lap, did a 36.33 on this lap. Warren did a 36.6. That's 2 tenths faster than the race leader. Any man who's faster than him at the moment, second place man Mac Corrins. So probably the wise thing to do there from Vanier. Are we expecting to see any pit stops for these drivers for fuel?
I am not sure. Last time we didn't see any pit stops happen for most of these guys. We saw some out of character pit stops, but I believe that was just for damage or to serve a penalty that they may have received. We do have some live stewards here, so they are handling all that crazy business happening in here, making sure everyone follows by the rules. So I don't believe we'll be seeing any pit stops as we're looking at Gavin Sanders and Matt Koritz have a little race on, and Mac is closing in, and he is having a big Mac attack. Look how much time he's gained through the chicane. It's about 3/10 right there.
Certainly does look hungry. I think on this occasion it is going to be a Big Mac. There you go. Instead, he's hungry for P1. 2.1 seconds behind. 4 seconds slower actually on that lap. Coins. That's a half second slower than what he's been doing for the majority of this race. But he does seem to have the momentum there going forward with a 36.1. What could have been for Waring? What could have been for so many others who got involved in incidents earlier on in the race? Certainly will be frustrating for them. Dibenedetto currently up in 3rd place, getting past Bedard. Not sure if we saw that one, as quite a little bit of a slide. And actually losing a little bit more time. Track temperature will be heating up, I imagine. So
yeah,
maybe struggling for the grip.
Track temp sitting about at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You can throw an egg onto the pavement and it'll start cooking right before your eyes. And let me tell you, a Canadian 100 degrees right on this man-made island is so humid with that water right next to you, and the man-made beach on the inside here on this island is extremely humid as well. So the track is very slippery, as you get to see. Matt, just struggling for grip, falls down half a second to Gavin Sanders ahead of him.
Yeah, it's a unique circuit, isn't it? This where it is so easy just to have a big slide. You could clip a curb a little bit too much, and it just ruins your momentum. And it can take you a couple of clean laps to really get back into the groove of things. I think it is only a matter of time until Corrins does start bringing that gap back down. But at the moment, Sanders, who's got the slight advantage. Sanders is only 1/10 off his fastest lap of the race as well. On that last time as well as Corrins was 7/10 off his best lap. So just not quite nailing that lap last time round. King is into the pits, Kevin King. And I believe is he back out? No, I think he's still stationary, so King, there he is. So maybe tying back to the pits. We have had a few drivers who are towed back to the pits so far. Currently looking at, I believe, 19 drivers on the lead lap still. In fact, a few more than that. There is King actually
Oh,
hitting
that's
the
a
wall.
bite.
And that will be his race over. Really looking forward to when
Oh.
really looking forward to when the new damage model comes out for these cars. And we'll be able to see the extent of the damage when something like that happens a bit more in the future.
And he goes off in the Lance Stroll stand area in F1. Lance Stroll, one of the Canadian drivers in one of
Oh
two
no.
Canadian drivers as Daly gets bumped by Scherer. And you can see the flash of lights that he is definitely not happy with that. And Craig Daly sporting a very interesting paint scheme with a very interesting slogan at the back of the car. But we are family friendly and we are not going to say it here, but if you want, you can pause it and look at it and zoom in and enhance it all you want.
Definitely. All I can say is
It's very tempting to hit it now. As we see Alex Fedroco looking down the inside in that McLaren, and he is the biggest mover in the field, up 14 spots, more than anyone, because he started from the very last spot on the grid. Let's move to the battle for 10th between Anderson and Vanier.
Yeah, this last lap, Anderson with a 37.4. Meanwhile, Vanier with a 37.4 himself. So they've been locked together for a little while now. Anderson, the only American, I believe, out on circuit.
He's actually from Ottawa.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, I believe he was in he had a residency in Florida when he signed up for iRacing. You know how iRacing is kind of weird with wherever you sign up from, that's kind of where you are, and all that giant process to get the flag chase. But no, Craig Anderson from Ottawa, Ontario, 38 years old, driving for A41 Twath, and he races in the SCCA GT2 and Spec Miata series. And he's currently battling with Zachary Vinier, the 17-year-old F1600 driver and ECKC Ferrari driver.
He's finally got the edge on the Ferrari man. They got Warring further ahead, but you can see actually on the timing board how they're really by themselves. 10 seconds back to the next car's 10 seconds further up. So hopefully these guys stay glued together to the end of the race so they can entertain one another. Martin Crisp is in the pits at the moment. What's going on there for Crisp?
It's showing him as out. He might have had a massive collision.
I think so. I mean, this would be a very long pit stop for him. I think he's actually towed back to the pits as Crisp. So it's a shame. Had slowly been making up his way through the order, got himself into the top 10. But can be a long way from that now. And such a short season, of course, he cannot afford any mistakes. So that's going to be compromise his chances at a good finish in the championship.
Yeah, 4-race season and tracks that suit driving smooth and consistently. This being the only track that is out of the ordinary, as we see, was that Fox? Who just went to the pits?
Must be a back marker, I guess.
Yeah.
Kevin King, I think.
Yeah, it's 29 King. Yeah, that'd be Kevin King in the pit lane. Once again, is there the car sideways? That's the 22 of Trevor Hill going. That was stopped sideways. Trevor Hill running in 23rd place as he got spun around and stopped at the end of turn 3 and 4. Site to very controversial moments in Formula One and NASCAR when they came here in the K&N series or Xfinity series, Busch series. All I remember is that corner, Robbie Gordon. You don't have to say anything more.
You see, I'm not quite familiar with this instance, so I may have to go on YouTube later on to find out. Waring is onto the back.
Oh! We got a car going around. Is that Anderson?
Yep, highlighted it in red.
Oh, he's definitely not happy. He was flashing his lights, and he's...
Oh,
Oh! The 89 of Greg Paquin, a lap car getting into the grass as Anderson was flashing the lights saying, hey, you're a few laps down, just take it easy. I'm going to try to go past. He got into the grass, and that is unfortunate for both those drivers. Oh, Craig Anderson is American.
Aha, okay.
With just a residency in Ottawa.
Thank you, Andre Spencer, for that one.
Well, I'm just going to stop looking at this Excel spreadsheet that I was given then.
Yeah, clearly very misleading. Federico, he is trying to get past Lupien, currently 1.2 seconds faster on that last lap. And the McLaren should be able to pull ahead. I wonder if we could get the onboard from the McLaren. Should be the rear left camera.
Oh, he's from that's it. He's from there, not
So he's based in the US now, is he?
Yes.
Aha, okay.
But he's from. Okay.
Actually,
and apparently he prays for the Ottawa Senators. Alright, I'm not even gonna look at chat now because I'm second guessing everything I'm reading.
Fellows has take back to the pits. By the way, whenever someone randomly goes to the top of the standings, but it shows that they're in the pits on the time tower, that means that they're towed back to the pits. It's happened a few times so far today. The Ottawa Senators sounds quite an odd name.
You obviously
Senators. I mean, that's quite a negative emotion.
Not
also,
those,
Ottawa
not those
doesn't even have
senators.
senators, do they?
It's senators are more of a guardians, in the term that these guys are using it.
Okay. Yeah, because of course, correct me if I'm wrong, but Canada doesn't even have a system like that. Anyway,
I'm Texan. I don't even know what's happening in my government.
Yeah, you've got a couple of notorious senators, don't you? Of course. Anderson now to the outside of Vanier. So there he goes, a little bit sideways. Can he get stopped? No, he can't. Door contact. And we've seen this a few times so far today. Side by side all the way down the back straight, but they are incredibly evenly matched on the exit. I think Anderson's slightly faster, might be able to pull ahead, and he has the inside line as well, though actually as the straight continues, Vanier seemingly with the slightly better straight line speed. Dead level into the chicane, side by side here doesn't work, but it does work on this occasion at least, and Vanier stays ahead, but I know it means is this battle over.
Craig Anderson as a goalie, 10 wins in the Nets. For the Ottawa Senators. So his family's in Florida, but he plays for the Ottawa Senators. That's why that's finished up all the conclusions right there, and I have a lot more respect for this guy because I'm actually a fan of hockey, even though I have no idea what ice is. Oh no!
Oh,
Craig Henderson gets into the back of Vanier, and I believe he's going to wait for Zachary, and let him back by.
oh, it's got caught by block now. As Warren has just got past Isman, by the way, for 5th place. Oh, Isman with an issue. And so we're going to see a replay of what happened. It was way too late on the brakes here for Anderson. I think Vanier was especially early on the brakes, but yeah, way too late. Doing a little bit of a Vettel, 2011-esque. Back on his way. But yeah, Isman down a couple of places, I believe, on this lap. He's done a... well, that's actually crossed the line yet, to be fair. I think it was up in 5th place previously. It's down into 7th now. Also a little bit of an issue for Lupien. Further down the order, he's down into 18th place now, as we are in fewer and fewer driver on the lead lap. We're down to 21 now on the lead lap, and yet Adam Isman then in 7th place. He just did a 47, lost 10 seconds on that last lap due to an incident.
Yeah, Lupien holding on to the inside. Let's get this replay as, oh, it gets into the grass. Around he goes. Thankfully avoided the wall and massive contact with the other drivers, but he drops down into 18th place. Back up front to Gavin Sanders. He is pulling away from Matt Corrance. And 3 seconds. Like, this guy has been on top of his games. Up 4 spots from where he started. Gavin Sanders, 17-year-old from Ontario, driver for the Nissan Micra Cup and racing for SPI Sanders Motorsport. He's got 6 minutes to go here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and he's got a lot of room to work with.
I thought when Corrance started closing that gap early on, when Corrance got up into 2nd place, seemed to have the momentum, also catching him by about half a second a lap for 3 or 4 laps. Got the gap down to 2 seconds, and then just had those couple of scratchy laps, didn't he? And Sanders upped his game as well, and he's just been able to maintain that gap ever since. But undoubtedly, the pressure's still on him. And it's tricky around a circuit like this to be the race leader when you've got so much to lose. Very tricky to get more than kind of 70% out of the car because you're so concerned about hitting the wall potentially. But Sanders has got that mix just right so far. Corrance, I'm sure, will give it absolutely his all. Despite the fact he'll almost certainly be the championship leader, I think, coming out of this round. Corrance, I think he'll still have his sights on the race win if possible, so he'll be giving it 110%. By the way, apologies to the driver currently in P3. I've attempted to pronounce his name a few times.
Dibenedetto.
No, my brain is functioning so low right now. I mean, it's functioning on about 2% brain energy. So apologies, Justin, but I'm not even going to try anymore. And I promise I'll learn in case I do any more of these commentaries to absolutely nail your name in the future. But honestly, my brain right now is just not working. Also, it's 2 in the morning. Dreadful stuff. But Badar, I can pronounce his name. If that is how you pronounce it, I assume so, seeing that it is quite a French name, seemingly. He's right on the tail, 4 tenths of a second behind. Also, Justin, very common name, isn't it, for Canadians? Timberlake and Bieber, obviously.
Oh, I don't think they want to hear that name.
a Canadian hero, I'm sure.
No.
You're not a big fan? No, I love all of his albums. I can't name any of them, but superb artist. And he had that documentary, didn't he? Which happened.
May have unfortunately left the booth for a bit. But the battle for third between Bedard and Justin Dibenedetto. sitting in third place. And fourth, this is a deep dive for Bedard with a damage on his front nose in that matte black stealth black Mercedes. Just can he keep it in the draft of Justin to just stay in there? Both these guys, Nissan Micro Cup drivers. Actually, Justin, he's making his Nissan Micro Cup debut in 2020 after 5 years of total racing experience in senior ROK karts.
Cars coming out of the pits at Jaguar inspired livery, just coming out behind these guys. Their pace is really good. Basically, it's Sanders with a 37.0, Corrence with a 36.9, and then Justin with a 36.9, and Bedard with a 36.8. So they're actually outlapping the race leaders at the moment. So a really good pace for these drivers. 7 seconds off the lead. They lost the majority of that time in the opening few laps. So certainly looking forward to seeing what these guys can produce for the last couple of rounds. Would be surprised they're not fighting for the race win later on in the season. Particularly Justin needs to improve on his qualifying. Qualifying down 13th place, over a second off the pace. It's clearly a lot more competitive than that. So he needs to improve on that element. But still seems today a podium might be coming his way today.
Big wiggle for Zachary Vanier, heading out of one of the trickiest corners on this circuit to the back end of that Ferrari, getting so loose with 2 minutes to go. Track temperature about 102 degrees right now. So little grip here on this public road course. Parts of this course is public, as going slow is Anderson.
That's all very simple, almost a choreographed there. Anderson painfully slowed through the corner, getting out of the throttle because he was going to understeer into the wall, but maybe being told to let that place by after the contact earlier on. He's going to have to do it again. These guys so evenly matched, it seems, on block 2 seconds behind. Block on that last lap was half a second faster than Vanier and 1 second faster than Anderson, so might have time to catch up, but I doubt he'll have time to do anything with it, because the race leader, I think, is on their last lap. We've only got 30 seconds more of this race, so we're not going to quite edge in lap 26. And Kevin Sanders, I know, has only got a few more miles to complete to take this race win.
It's still under pressure from Bedard, who is dancing on that gearbox, but unfortunately he goes dancing a little bit too much. Lights flashing for Justin Dibenedetto, trying to get around that lap car ahead of him. But Bedard, after dancing on the curb, unfortunately cannot catch up into the braking zone, and driving down the front straight after an amazing start, avoiding all the chaos and some wonderful moves. Gavin Sanders, 1 corner to go, and it's the Wall of Champions. And it's going to be a race win in round 2 for the Canadian E-Series eRacing Challenge presented by Apex V2R. Gavin Sanders takes the victory over Matt Corrence, Justin Dibenedetto, and Oliver Bedard, followed by Andrew Worry, your top 5.
Exceptional drive there from Sanders, who are absolutely right how he nailed the start, and after that, once he got into the lead, absolutely perfect driving. Would be great to have a chat with him, because must have been feeling the pressure, but certainly did not look it out there. Craig Anderson, what a battle this has been, and he's not going to quite do it on Vanier, it seems. Oh, he's very slow as well. Where's Block? Block is coming. It's that Block. It's that Block going slowly. Yes. No, it's 11th place.
It's also not for 5th place, and it's not raining, and it's not utterly maddening conditions as, oh my goodness. Well, glad we switched cameras right there, because that was massive. That was a pink Mercedes that just, I don't know, no braked it into turn 1 and 2.
not wise. Usually.
Well, it's the end of the race. So these guys love to have their own little fun end of race routine. Some like to do donuts. Some, if they didn't have a good race, they just want to watch their car blow up sometimes. And some just want to park it over on the side of the road and just relax and have a good afternoon. But as Exton comes across the line, believe we are completely 100% done and can read you the race results. Taking the win is Gavin Sanders ahead of Matt Corrance, which is going to closing up the championship lead heading into mid Ohio. They're followed by Justin Dibenedetto, Oliver Bedard, Andrew Waring, Erwin James, Adam Insman, Curtis Fox, Zachary Vanier, Craig Anderson, Nathan Block, Daryl Timmers, Alex Federico, Bill Swires, Zachary Shearer, Craig Daly, Yannick Lupien, Jacob Exton in 18th, followed by Rosarito Sortino, Travis Hill, Dominic Dumas, Trevor Hill, Sam Fellows, Martin Crisp, Jen Gray, Pierre Clavet Pedro, Greg Van Deleen, Jean Christopher Tron in 28th, followed by Greg Packman, Scott Hargrove, Kevin King, and Paul Morin. And I believe, Sam, you are standing by with our race winner, Gavin Sanders.
Yeah, an awesome job today from Gavin Sanders to take the race victory today at Montreal. Congratulations out there, Gavin. I mean, really, that race was made at the start. Those first 2 or 3 laps were absolutely hectic. I mean, how was it from your perspective?
It was really wild. I don't know, it was more luck and just kind of putting my foot in it, but yeah, it was wild just kind of watching those guys battle and then waiting for something to happen, and then yeah, it just all came up on my happened right in front of my bumper, and then managed to make that work.
So you took the lead, and then Mac managed to get into second place. It was a bit of a strange one where once he got into second place, he seemed to be taking a few tenths of a second a lap out of you for the first few laps. But then there just seemed to be a couple of laps where you managed to even out the gap, and then from then on, you two were just dead level. I mean, that was an intense race.
Yeah, it was really intense, but I do have to thank Justin Dibenedetto, who finished P3. We've been working on setup and stuff all week to just kind of make the car more manageable throughout the long run, and it really paid off there, I think.
So the points that you've got today are certainly going to help you out in the championship. I mean, is that your main goal? Are you really thinking about the championship at the moment to take that title?
I had a interesting round one, so definitely going to be a comeback if we're going to look at the title. But today really kind of solidified the fact that we're going to be going for this one.
And next up, we've got Mid Ohio. Quite a different one to this. Lots of elevation change. How are you feeling about that one? Is that a circuit that you've got much experience around?
Definitely have a few laps on iRacing around there. But I think with the elevation, how technical it is, it's going to come down to kind of a similar race today where it's really intense and it's a couple tenths of a lap uh, each time, just kind of picking your way through it more or less. But it'll be really exciting for sure.
Absolutely, we're certainly looking forward to it. Before we let you go, Gavin, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Today, my paint scheme was a throwback to my real life tuner, Vic Simone. So I want to give a big shout out to him and appreciations for everything he does for me on and off the track. So that was really big. And all my other partners, 11 Tenths, Say About Liquid Molly, and Infinite Motorsports as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Gavin.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
on the race win, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Gavin Sanders there. Your race winner today, as Austin is now with Mackenzie Corrance.
Yes, I am. Mackenzie, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you guys?
We're doing absolutely fantastic. It was a very entertaining race, and it was a very tricky start for you. Started fourth place, got jumbled down a few spots, and then brought it your way back up the field after a very chaotic start, especially in the hairpin. Walk us through that incident.
I didn't really see it. I saw them going side by side into the hairpin. Then I kind of just was in the right place at the right time and avoided getting hit.
You're definitely in the right place at the right time. And was the track temperature hurting you a little bit today? As the race went on, we started noticing you struggling with your rear end grip coming out of corners.
No, that was more my mental temperature than the track temperature. It's the same for everybody, so that was just me making mistakes I didn't need to be making. A couple other factors that I'm sure you saw, but it was mostly me.
All right. Well, next track, it is Mid Ohio. Do you have any experience around there?
I do. I've raced there once for real, and I've driven there a bunch of times on iRacing as well.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us in, and congrats on second place right there. Another podium. That makes two in a row. Are you trying to go for a... Hopefully you're trying to go for that 4 in a row sweep. We'll see what you can do next week. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yep, I want to thank Apex V2R and Mark, Andre for putting on the series. My dear old dad who's sitting here next to me. And my buddy Scott, who I think is watching. And yeah, you guys for putting on the broadcast, so thanks.
All right. Awesome, man. You have yourself a good night.
You too, guys. Thanks.
And that was Matt Corns. And Sam, I believe you are standing by with Justin Dibenedetto.
Yes, I have got Sir Justin with us now. Congratulations, Justin. I mean, started in 13th place, I believe, out there. So
Yeah.
at the start of the race, I mean, a podium was pretty far away, but here you are.
That was a bad qualifying, and I said, okay, let's try to make it up, maybe top 5, and then it just came to us.
It really did. I mean, once again, those first few laps were pretty crazy. Seemed like the first lap you made up about 5 or 6 places. I mean,
Yeah.
was there anything that you did in particular that you think really helped you out on that?
Well, usually I'm a bit more cautious at the starts. Like, I'm not usually that aggressive. Or maybe I'll get aggressive like mid to the end of the race. But this time I said I'm P13. I know the race setup that I worked on is really good, so just aggressive overtakes. Yeah.
Yeah, that certainly was the way to go. Got you well up through the order, and then you had an awesome battle for P3. I mean, you had your rival breathing down your neck the entire way, Oliver Bedard. How was it with the pressure? Because this place is tricky when you're being caught. I mean, it's so easy to hit a wall. Did you have any near scares?
I had a few where I had to lift off at the exit of the corner. But no, Olivier, he really benefited when we went through lap traffic. Like, I would just see the delta go from 3 seconds, and then we go through a pack of 1 or 2 cars, and then it's dropped to a second and a half. But no, just getting through some of the lap traffic this race was really difficult. Some people weren't as helpful as they could have been, but I mean, they're entitled to it. They have their race that they got to do. So, I mean, the last few laps, the car was sliding everywhere. So it was just a matter of keeping it on point, but it got sloppy towards the end. But I mean, managed to salvage a 3rd place. So that's something.
Absolutely. How was the grip levels as the race went on? It was seemingly getting a bit warmer out there. What was the effects on the tires out there, and how much wear as well was there on the tires from the end of the race compared to the start?
I'd probably say about the last 20 to 15 minutes, it was like driving on ice. Even with upping the traction control all the way throughout, like, it was just sliding into T1, Getting onto the power out of corners, it was just sliding everywhere. So it was just, yeah, no, the setup wasn't good towards the end, but yeah, no, the track conditions just kept getting worse and worse.
Well, you certainly did a great job there in the end, Justin. Congratulations on your podium. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Geez. Well, sponsors certainly help. I mean, I have a few of them on my car. Gavin Sanders, my teammate. We spent, I think, more than a few hours, or more hours than we should have on the setup this week, but certainly paid off in the end. He got P1, and I managed to just get the last step of the podium. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, congrats once again, Justin, and we hope to see you next week.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Justin Dibenedetto. There you go. In third
Hey.
place right there. Oh, I've grown as a person now that I can pronounce relatively simple names. Austin, who are we going to have a chat with next?
Well, we finished our podium finishers, and now let's take a look at Andrew Waring and bring him into the booth. Howdy, 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 Andrew. How are you doing?
Frustrated, obviously.
Yeah, I would be too, but you had a very good start. Unfortunately, racing incidents happen, and but you did grind your way back up into 5th place, so it's top 5, good points, and relatively good position. But walk us through that race.
Yeah, good start. I knew Scott. Scott's a real racer, so I knew he was going to be pretty pokey on the start, which was good because I was able to grab second. And then him and I right off the bat seemed pretty good on pace in terms of everybody else. And then, I rewatched the incident. I'm just gonna blame it on netcode. We kind of looked like we got hooked together, and we just both drove
Yeah.
straight into the wall. I don't blame him. I hope he doesn't blame me. I mean, I can't see what I could do more, but I was gonna just stay out, and keep the damage on, but I was just kind of not really able to keep up, so I decided to do the fast repair. And honestly, after that, my spotter just kept telling me I was about 9/10 the second clear of the field every lap, which was just incredible. The setup was on point, and right into the ends, I was able to run the 35s, low 36s.
Well, thankfully you kept your times going on, and were one of the fastest cars out there on track, and made a good show of a great recovery drive and living by a never give up attitude. So that is high marks in my book. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, Evolve Simsport, my team, Spencer Todd, my spotter, you guys for doing the broadcast, Apex VTR for putting on the series, and honestly, just looking forward to next week, and hopefully we can keep pushing and keep it on the track this time.
All right. Thank you, Andrew, and you have yourself a good night.
You too. Thanks, guys.
I think we're going to have a very quick word with JC Tran to end off the interviews. JC, a
Actually,
frustrating day today, unfortunately, but yeah, starting in second place, dropping down a little bit, and then it was that instant down at the hairpin, which really suffered to you out there. I mean, how was it from your perspective?
Sam, I was just being let know that JC Tran actually doesn't have a mic connected with him, and he was communicating with that right as you dragged him in there. So unfortunately, JC doesn't have a mic connected. I did I did say that he could write down his answer for us, and I can read it out for him, but as of right now, he will not be able to respond to how his race went, and I am stalling as he is typing out that message. But it was a very good start for him, and he was just I can highly tell that he was not happy after that start, after getting crashed in there.
It certainly was a shame, and well, hopefully we'll see more of JC in the coming weeks. But I think that's pretty much all the interviews done then, and of course we can look forward to round 3 of the championship coming up next week. I mean, Mid Ohio, one of my favourite circuits, certainly based in the US. That will be a very good host for round 3 of the season. It's good that the organisers have gone for a little bit of a different circuit. We go to the same type of circuits quite often, but that place, a little bit underutilized, will be good fun around that.
Yeah, Mid Ohio Sports Car Course, perfect for GT3 racing and drivers in who are experienced in F1600 or F2000. US F2000 go there a lot, and I can tell you it's a great circuit to just have a good old track day on, and it's going to be very fun to watch that race next week. I've been joined by Sam Fitzpatrick on the co-commentary with Dennis Branch giving us all these fantastic replays, cameras, camera angles, graphics, etc. right there, and he's been doing a wonderful job. And I'm Austin Knight, and y'all have a good night.